I'm Amit Tamde, and I'm a graduate student here at the Harvard Kennedy School. As we all know, the theme of this conference is India in Transition, and we are here to discuss one of the most important aspects of this, that is, the vision of emerging India. India today is seen as an emerging power on both economic and political front. Citizens are now increasingly participating in decision-making to define this vision. In this state of dynamic change, everyone is watching what this vision would be. What lies ahead for India? What is the role India sees for her constituents and for herself as a global actor? In answering these questions, we are joined today by two very eminent personalities. Professor Ashutosh Vashni, who will be the moderator of this keynote session, is Saul Goldman Professor of International Studies and the Social Sciences at the Brown University, where he also directs the Brown India Initiative. Previously, he was here at the Harvard University and the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. Some of his books include Ethnic Conflict and Civic Life, Hindus and Muslims in India, Democracy, Development and the Countryside, Urban-Rural Struggles in India, and the latest one, which is The Battles Half Won, India's Improbable Democracy. His academic articles have appeared in various political science and development journals, and he's also a contributing editor at the Indian Express. He served on UN Secretary General Kofi Annan's task on Millennium Development Goals and has also served as World Bank's advisor. The keynote speaker today is Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad. He is the Union Cabinet Minister for Communications and Technology in the Government of India, headed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He is an eminent lawyer and a senior advocate in the Supreme Court of India. He has been a member of Parliament since the year 2000 and has also served on various parliamentary committees including Finance, Communications and IT, Petroleum and Chemicals. Since his appointment as the Cabinet Minister for Communications and Information Technology in May 2014, he has been spearheading the task of reviving India's telecom sector. He is also leading the task of developing India into global electronics manufacturing hub. India is now at the cusp of a digital revolution, and it is a priority of this government as well as the minister where he is at the forefront of implementation of this digital revolution. The flagship program being Digital India, and where they aim for good governance using extensive information technology. I now welcome both the moderator as well as the speaker to share their thoughts on this topic. Thank you.
We've been introduced, so perhaps without any more time spent on introductions, let's invite the Honorable Minister, the Honorable Ravi Shankar Prasad, to address the audience. And the topic, you have changed it or it's still the same?
What do you say?
Governance, a new governance vision for India, right?
The vision of emerging India.
Vision of emerging India. Welcome, Prasad.
Mr. Ashutosh Vashni, distinguished participants in today's extraordinary India conference, ladies and gentlemen, at the very outset, let me congratulate the organizers of this conference. I talked to them, I saw their presentation. Our journey began as a student activist way back in the JP movement. We have organized many conferences, attended many seminars, but far away in Harvard, the kind of organization you are doing in quest of India's identity is truly great. My compliments to all the organizers. And standing in Harvard, one of the most distinguished centers of academic excellence, both for students and faculty, I'm truly honored. Well, friends, how we see India, because that is very important to understand the topic I'm going to reflect. I will talk about our political activism when we sit in the next interaction again with Mr. Vashni. But if very briefly I can indicate, and this I am saying, we are not lateral entrant into politics. We began at the college level like you, then going to the state level, then opposing in the JP movement, having our baptism, then opposing the emergency, suffering long imprisonment, lathi blows, and thereafter coming to the national level. I have been in charge of 8 states of India for my party. And I've seen India evolve. And if I have to concretize the metamorphosis of India, 2 expressions. From the politics of want to the politics of hope is the first one. And the second, the politics of assurance to the politics of aspiration, the second one. That is what I see India. And the parliamentary elections in which our party came to power, in many ways, was the vindication of the politics of hope from the politics of want. After 30 years, one party got a majority, and that too conclusive majority. In fact, Varshne and we crossed each other on television debates, and I was sitting on Times Now, Arnav Goswami, and he was the first to tell me, Mr. Prasad, your party has got majority on its own. It's good for India. My friends, I sit in Sanchar Bhavan, which was in the news for all the wrong reasons in the past. I need not tell you, the 2G happened there. I can talk to my Indian friends. And I haven't changed my seat, but I have changed the department's whole architecture. That is very important. Come to my office. If you notice any middleman, point me out. The middleman's entry is completely banned. All decisions are being taken in transparent, fair manner. And my motto is, whatever is doable shall be done, regardless of whatever you say. And whatever is not doable shall not be done, regardless of whatever you do. With that happening, today decisions are on known principles, on predictable principles. The first new idea of India emerging today is good governance. And for good governance, transparent, honest decision-making is important. 110,000 crore auction in spectrum. Coal auction 3 lakh crore, surpassing even the CAG's benchmark. We today are involving certain transformational initiative to change India. You know, every party, every leader comes with programs for the country. But certain initiative becomes transformational, like the National Highway Program, like when computer came in India, in spite of opposition, when mobile phone came in India. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know that our mobile connectivity today is 1 billion plus? In a country of 1.25 billion, we have 1 billion mobile phones. Internet penetration today is 400 million. It took 3.5 years, sorry for the cough, that is my introduction to the snow at the airport yesterday. Forgive me. Internet took 3.5 years from 200 million to 300 million. It took just 1 year to become 400 million. And I had fixed a target of 500 million by 2017. Asutosh, we may do it by this year itself. Maybe 60% is mobile, but still it is there. We sought to have the digital identity of every Indian for delivery of services, subsidies to ensure good governance. We have 970 million Indian today on Aadhaar. At a click of a button, you can discover them, and all the data is completely secure. What is Digital India? Let me come to that, because that is what I'm handling. Some of the great initiatives which are transformational in nature, and today are being talked about all over the world, have been initiated by our government led by Shri Narendra Modi. Digital India, Make in India, Startup India, Stand Up India, Smart City Campaign, and Swachh Bharat Campaign. If an idea is properly popularized, and Asutosh, being a social scientist, let me tell you a very interesting thing. The PM asked all the ministers to visit 2 constituencies and spend 30 hours there. I had gone to Indore. And there one particular village has become ODF, open defecation free, one whole area. And they wanted to see that, how people respond if awakened properly. A lady Sarpanch has constituted a Banar Sena of young children who get up at 4 o'clock in the morning with a whistle in their hand, in their lips. And if they found anyone defecating openly, they whistle. Please construct a toilet in your house. There is a provision for that. And this movement became so popular. I called them, I asked them, come with me. Let me have the privilege of getting photographed with you. Many new ideas getting replicated. Let me tell you the changing digital profile of India. Just before taking the flight, I had an award-giving ceremony. Young students, school students. A quiz competition was organized all over the country by my IT department, Asutosh, where they were asked to reply on sensitive issues like e-governance, on issues like cyber security, on issues like cyber crime. You know how many children participated? 1 million. Online. How many were given award? 32,000. And 150 best were selected to be personally awarded by me. The second, the PM was speaking in London to Indian crowd. You may have seen that. He talked about one Imran Khan, who is seeking to change India in its own way. I also heard him. He's from Alwar in Rajasthan. I asked my BSNL people that please locate him, send him a bouquet on my behalf, and make him talk to me. The GM went there in Alwar. At 9 o'clock, I was waiting. Then the call came, sir, he is available, would like to talk to him. Surely, why not? And let me recount in Hindi 2 lines, then I'll come to English. इमरान खान साहब आप क्या आपको मालूम है आपका पीएम साहब ने कल नाम लिया है? कहा जी मैं तो सो गया था रात में 1 बजे, लेकिन पड़ोसी दोस्त लोग आए. हमने कहा क्या करते हैं आप? कि मैं संस्कृत हाई स्कूल में मैथमेटिक्स का टीचर हूँ. कहा और क्या करते हैं? कहा सर मैं ऐप्स बनाता हूँ जो बच्चे कंपटीशन देते हैं, बाकी करते हैं उनके लिए. फिजिक्स, मैथमेटिक्स, बाकी के ऐप्स बनाता हूँ. कहा कितने बच्चे उपयोग करते हैं? 30 लाख. Now can you just think of it? A young mathematics teacher is making apps being used by 3 million students. I asked him, IT की पढ़ाई कहाँ से किया? कहा मैं तो खाली BSc मैथमेटिक्स में हूँ, मेरे भाई साहब कुछ किताबें छोड़ के गए थे, उससे पढ़ करके हमने तैयार किया. The second is very fascinating.
Shall I translate?
I think they have understood. Okay. The second is very fascinating. A lawyer friend of mine shared very excitement, Mr. Prasad, you must talk to me, I was busy in a meeting. And what happened? My car had a puncture tire in the middle of Delhi. I left my car in disgust. What to do? Went on Google, looked for puncture walas in Delhi. 50 numbers came. Looked for in my neighborhood, 3 numbers came. I sent a message to one. He responded, come, I am coming, wait. After 45 minutes, he sent him an app. This is your tube. There are 3 needles inside. I'm going to repair it and coming after an hour, and this is my bill, keep it ready. Now, no one taught him, but this is what is happening and how it is happening. And the fourth, by my friend Rajat Sharma of the India TV, I had gone his Aapke Adalat program, and he said, Ravi, this you must note and see what is the potential for India to grow and transform. Every day when I used to return from my studio, I found my servant on a pillion of a scooter 3 blocks away from his house, playing with his smartphone. The first day happened, the second day happened, the third day happened. He asked his wife, what the hell he does there? Simple, the Wi-Fi connection is the best in front. He takes the connection and sees Brazil World Cup football. This is the changing face of India. Digital India is designed to empower this India. I always say digital India is designed to bridge the digital divide. Digital India is more important for the pancharwalas, for the mason, for the electrician, for a whole range of other manual people who are seeking to have a better life through the platform of their smartphone. That is what Digital India is about. And that's what we are doing. Do you know India is home to the biggest footprint of Facebook after USA? Biggest footprint of Google after USA. India is home to the largest number of smartphones after USA. They are even surpassing China. Let me give you 3 other platforms which are emerging when I come to the infrastructure part of it. I would like to say my young students here, we have a common service center, about 94,000, who do e-ticketing, passport, Aadhaar making, for those who have no access to internet or computer. I am going to scale up them. And just by way of digital inclusion, I had given a challenge to my officers that I would like to see Mahadalit women being digitally trained to run common service centers. 300 were trained in Bodh and Bihar. I personally asked them to speak, and I could see 1 month of training has changed also their profile. The ghungat has gone a little back, and they were seeking a new change. This is the kind of empowerment we are doing. We are erecting about 250,000 gram panchayats of India to optical fiber network, which we are constructing for them. And the scale, you can understand, the program started in 2011. And when I became minister, there was hardly 258 kilometers of optical fiber laid and about 2,000 optical pipe laid. I'm giving you a 1 week ago statistics. Now we have covered optical pipe 120,000 kilometers in this government, and optical fiber about 86,000 kilometers. We have to complete by 2017. What will happen? E-commerce, e-education, e-health is very important. E-commerce is rising in India in a very phenomenal way, 67% plus. In the last 2 years, I'm amazed, and when we talk of startups, you see some of the finest startups in the e-commerce segment. How the startup culture also is changing in India. Recently was a startup conference. Vigyan Bhavan has 1,200 seats. We requested, and 1 lakh interest was generated. Now, how to make it shorter? First was the age barrier. The startup must be 40 years and below. And the second, you must be really, ultimately, 30 years to 35 years people were there. Snapdeal, Amazon, your Flipkart, Paytm. It is truly extraordinary. I can't take the name of all for the sake of time. When Mark Zuckerberg came to meet me, I asked him, what is your age? He said, sir, I'm 33. When you founded Facebook, when I was 19, Sachin Bansal came to meet me. I asked him, what is your age? I'm 33. When you established Flipkart, when I was 25, it's a new India emerging. And we want to encourage that India to create opportunities. That is our very clear focus. Do you know, 60% of catchment of e-commerce is small Mufassil towns of India. They want to have good mobile phone, good television, and even competitive boys are seeking books for that purposes. And I have put my postal department in a big way in ensuring delivery. We have got 156,000 post offices all over the country, out of which 125,000 are in the rural part, semi-rural part. I put them into delivery of e-commerce goods. Their parcel revenue was minus 2% in 13-14. It rose by 45% in 14-15. It has risen by 120% in 15-16 by December end. This is how it happens if you employ new technology for the purposes of delivery as well. There is 2 areas where I look forward in a very excited way for expansion of digital India. One is e-health. And I request more innovation, a lot are doing. I'm quite open to the ideas. And the second is e-education. You know, we have got so many IITs and NITs, but the faculty is a problem. One would love to have Ashutosh Varshneyas all over the country in the Universities of India, but he's always keen in Boston or where he is in Brown. But he can surely come through the medium of digital connect to give his lectures. IIT professors in Kanpur, in Kharagpur, in Mumbai, who have done great service in the quest of an empowered India, can be employed in a big way for the purposes of delivery of e-education, where this becomes very important. And all this optical fiber network is being done by us through a government funding. This I wanted to tell you presently. And once it happens, a lot of marketing strategy, a lot of further innovation, a lot of further delivery will come about. In the quest of digital inclusion, one more issue which we are doing is, we are coming with an idea of digital village. What is going to be a digital village? We will select the best collector of a state and ask him to name the best Gram Panchayat under his charge. There will be a Wi-Fi connection there. There will be a virtual classroom there where those courses will be taught for which there is no provision like physics, like economics and others. And also a digital health center connecting the village to the district health center, followed by a good LED light, solar powered. We want to have a competition like in smart cities when we are developing a particular area of a district selected out of 100 as a smart city so that other can follow the net result. Therefore, this whole campaign is basically designed to empower India. Very briefly, Make in India, you have separate chapter, I don't want to devote much time. But in electronic manufacturing, we are doing really extraordinary. When I became minister, I asked him, so much of mobile is there, how many are manufactured? Number was very less. I decided to encourage in a very big way and see how the results came. I talked to all the chief minister of BJP states or non-BJP states. It's a big area waiting to be exploited. We consume 100 billion plus electronic goods every month, from mobile phone to washing machine to mic to cameras to whatnot to LED lights. But the manufacturing number is very small. And then all of them became active. We have approved about 20 greenfield electronic cluster scheme. And now I am very happy to tell you, the total investment when I became minister was 11,500 crores. And now it has crossed 1,20,000 crores. And all the major players of the world are in India. We have just had about 15 new plants of all the mobile manufacturing company from, you named, I will not name them. But this is how we are changing India. Well, friends, I hope I have surpassed my time.
No, I think 5 more minutes.
Okay. Where I see the future, ladies and gentlemen, my take about India is, Indians first observe technology. Then they adopt technology. Then they start enjoying it. And in the process, they become empowered. Let me tell you how India is changing. A classic example of social media. You must have heard about a very popular TV program of a popular anchor who always loves to love his own voice, Arnav Goswami on the Times Now. I had gone to Kochi, and Ashutosh and myself have been together on that channel a number of times, including on NDTV. But NDTV prefers you more, I think. No problem. I remember I had gone to Cochin, and one parent met me through the BJP president, and he said that this family wants to meet you. They came with their little daughter, Anamika, studying in class 4. And she came and hugged me. Sir, I always watch you on television. I see you talking on television on Times Now. And her parents said she doesn't even watch cartoon show when Times Now program is going on. I hugged her, got a photograph, put on my Facebook, and I wrote, love and blessings to my real friend Anamika. That is the face of emerging India, that she doesn't even see cartoon shows for that, and blah, blah, blah. And I told, I never knew my friend Arnav Goswami was so popular. Well, the likes reached 1 million plus, the highest ever on my Facebook entry. I had 60,000 comments, and one comment was the most hilarious. Mr. Prasad, Anamika did not miss the cartoon show because Arnav Goswami's show even otherwise is the cartoon show. This is a new India emerging. Let us celebrate this India, an empowered India, an India of hope, an India of intellectual inquiry. That's how I see it. And this technological revolution which we are engaged in, and the transformational program which we are involved with, whether it's Make in India or Startup India or what is Stand-Up India? Very briefly. Stand-Up India is a decision of our government which mandates every bank to fund one Dalit and tribal entrepreneur to become a big startup in his own right. And let me conclude by giving a very personal example of a good friend of mine. He is a Padma Bhushan, Milind Kamble. He began his life as a junior engineer. He's a Dalit. He used to distribute money for payment of road construction, etc. One fine morning, he decided to become a contractor and real estate developer himself. His father said, "You are a fool. You'll get quick promotions. You'll become chief engineer." He left the job. Today, his turnover is 100 crores. He decided to have a theme with India. We are not job seekers, we are job givers. That became the theme. And collected a lot of Dalit entrepreneurs and there is FICCI for Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce. There is CII, there is ASSOCHAM, they call it DICCI, Dalit Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I have been to them. I was amazed to see about 5,000 Dalit entrepreneurs who have come together, not seeking reservations, but seeking for a better India on their own right. Reservation is important. It is a constitutional goal. We need to help those elements. But what is important for my friends in the Harvard to recognize as to how the changing profile of India is emerging for a better India, which you rightly said, India in transition, challenge and opportunity. Thanks a lot. Namaskar.
Is my microphone up? Yeah. Thank you for those remarks. And while Mr. Prasad and I have clashed quite a bit on television, but it's always been a meaningful contestation. And he also, it's clear, believes in some old world values, which are very important. When he sees you outside the studio or in a hotel, let's say in Banaras, he embraces you, even after a fairly intense debate on television. So I greatly appreciate those old world values that he holds on to. We have a very strictly political panel coming up after this keynote. So I think I will use my time to talk about digital and electronic India and some of the technical and economic issues there. First of all, everyone who's observing India is also observing China. And we have, there's no doubt that India is going through a period of hope and aspirations, and the young people that you've talked about, the young people that I meet, are indeed animated with that spirit. My Indian home is Bangalore now, no longer Delhi, and the way the taxi drivers work with new technology, their GPS, is to be seen, to be believed. It's very different from Delhi. It's much more the way Bangalore takes to technology, even at the mass level, is quite interesting to watch. But China, if you look at where India and China were in 1990-91, the GDP is roughly similar per capita income. GDP is slightly higher for China, per capita income roughly the same. 2015 figures show the following. Chinese GDP is a little over $10 trillion, and India's GDP is $2 trillion. So in strictly formal terms, India is 1/5 of China, and that's what has happened in the last 25 years. And I don't know whether you've seen the numbers on access to digital access and electronic access in China. Those numbers are far, far, far ahead of India, in a country which in 1990 did not have the scientific and technological base that India did. There were no IITs in China. And during the Cultural Revolution, the higher education base of China was actually smashed to pulp by Mao, when professors in universities were asked to go to the village and learn from peasants. That was the whole strategy. So a country that started in 1990 with a lower technological base, a lower scientific base, has gone far ahead, even in strictly your area. So what do you think accounts for that? And do you think, and how soon do you think a catch-up in India is possible? That's question number one. And the second question, which has often been asked, can we have a truly massive or truly mass-based digital revolution in India without electricity access to all? So those are the two questions on which let's seek your reflections, Mr. Prasad.
First of all, China went on a big path of reform in 79 itself. We started very late. Therefore, we will have to pay a price. Obviously, China, good luck to that country, did well. But China is a closed society. We are an open society. It has its own advantages, it has its own disadvantages. But Indians have a great habit of catching up very fast. And when I said the extraordinary number of mobile phones, the way internet penetration is going on, you must create the enabling atmosphere for opportunity. And they will respond. For instance, today, let me tell you, Asutosh, Foxconn company, which is manufacturing all the phones, Apple phones and others, has come to India in a very big way. They understand there is some downturn there. They do not want to have the entire eggs in one basket. There are also issues of quality and other things. So I would say I cannot dispute the past, which is there for all of us to see. I see the future with a lot of promise. And there, the way India today, in spite of having not a very stable, I would say, a little world economic scenario under stress, yet we are posting 7.4, having the biggest FDI. In my telecom sector, we had the biggest FDI ever in the history of India in the last 1.5 years. That is how it is happening. Let's hope for the best. And I would expect that India will respond to these challenges in a very, very fitting way and come up with flying colors. As regards the second part of your query is concerned, yes, therefore we are also accelerating energy reforms and connectivity in a much bigger way. Solar power, conventional energy, more linkages. Let me tell you how India is changing as far as aspiration in this way is concerned. The PM talks on Man Ki Baat, where he at times mentions about achievement of Indians. About 4 days ago, I was in Seeker in the quest of that program. And there was a lady, Geeta in Dausa district, who used to run her own charkha and weaving. And she has also gone solar now on her loom. And she wrote to the Prime Minister, why you didn't take my name? I have also gone solar now. And the PM took her name and she was very happy. These are new ideas coming about. And you may have heard about Jugaad technology of Indians, okay? That is truly phenomenal. I remember 8 months ago, I was in Uttar Pradesh traveling in a political program. No, before the Lok Sabha elections. And it was Basti or Devariya area. And they asked me, sir, 8 months ago, we saw you on that TV debate. We forgot. There was Hindi debate and all these things. But how do you see television debates? I don't see light. Very simple, we come back, we have a Jugaad technology, we operate the battery, connected with that, and we have a system and we get all the television channels there for us to see in the night. Indians are very, very innovative. They'll find a way, but yes, we have to work together in energy and digital both. They'll work hand in hand.
So perhaps we should open up now. We have 20 minutes, right, for questions and comments. So let's we were talking before we came on stage, and both of us thought that it would be good to maximize audience participation. I don't think I need this, right? Audience participation. So let's have questions from you and comments from you. Brevity is always the soul of intelligence. A brief if possible, and could you also introduce yourself briefly before you ask a question? So I saw a hand there. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, sir. I'm Neeru, and I have a question regarding, like, as you mentioned, Indians are very good at catching up, and we observe technology. And my question is, where are we when it comes to creating new things? Like, India is always lacking when it comes to new innovation, research, and so what is our government doing to fulfill this gap?
I think that is a very, very relevant question. That is a gap area. And this whole startup culture is basically designed for that. Can I just tell you that we had 1,000 startups established in the last 1 year in my department only, in IT, and IT-enabled services and communication. We are encouraging that. Therefore, this innovation is incubators, more capacity building in human resources. For instance, I talked about electronic manufacturing. We find we need to create new capacity. And we have gone for PhDs programs, government funded, and other things in NITs and all. That's how we are doing. And it is all a part of a cycle. If we trust that, Indians will respond as I always believe.
Can I add to the research part of her question? As an academic, it's easy for academics to notice that, once again, the China-India comparison, that despite the great higher education lag, not primary and secondary education, which is where China was always ahead, but despite a great higher education lag, just a very simple stats about that. Amartya Sen and Jean Drèze write in their earlier book, not the latest, that until roughly 1985 or so, there were 6 times as many college goers in India as in China, and there were 6 times as many, or roughly 6 times as many primary and secondary school goers in China as in India. So that was you can call it a not very far-sighted policy on the part of Nehru to have encouraged higher education so much and not encourage primary and secondary education correspondingly. Or you can, that's a separate point. The point is there was a higher education advance or higher education lag that China had compared to India. But if you look at patterns now, based on research, emerging from universities, they have gone far ahead of India. Now, I know that education sector is not under your ministry, but nonetheless, as a senior member of the Modi cabinet, as someone who was also part of Vajpayee government, how do you look at, what is your view, or what is government's view, whichever way you wish to answer this, about encouraging research in India? Should government be so involved in higher education as it appears to be? Is that the way to encourage research, or should universities be left free and government withdraw as much as possible as a way to encourage research?
Obviously, government should not intervene in the affairs of the university. Okay, their autonomy needs to be respected, number one. Number two, research should be completely free in terms of being encouraged, new ideas allowed to prosper. But what is important is, India is also home to some of the more important research institutions who also needs to be given more freedom, more support. That's what we are engaged in. You know, as I see, for instance, I will give you 2 instances. This flexible electronics is a very important type, because I'm handling that, therefore I can understand the research part of it. Flexible electronics. We decided we have to go for good human resource in this. We selected IIT Kanpur. We have given them 150 crores. Budget is there. That's how it is coming about. Many programs we have given to IIT Mumbai. Therefore, these ideas need to be encouraged. Not only in the field of technology, but in field of other ideas. After all, Indians have done so well. This whole Mangalyaan was what? 99.9% products were India made. Therefore, we need to trust ourselves. That's how I see. What have been the critical areas of gap, we need to supplement and reinforce. And this has to be done by the government of India and the state governments together, and the private sector also. And what is the matter of great assurance in India? That private sector also is coming in a very big way in the field of higher education and research. That's how I see it.
But do you think the government's role vis-a-vis universities and institutes of technology and science should be an enabling one via grants, or should also be a supervisory one?
First and foremost, it has to be enabler. I'm very clear about it. The autonomy of these institutions must be respected. Maybe where the situation is such like that, we must have a proper hierarchy, which is there in all the laws governing the IITs. That any case of uncertainty, ambiguity, or discord should be addressed by that process which is available. But the autonomy of these institutions must be respected. That's how I see it.
Yes, sir. We go to you next.
Yeah,
then
so,
Ms. after that. Yeah, sir. After that. Yeah.
So in terms of like advanced technology, I'm a student of MIT. Good morning, sir. So yeah. So
when you introduce yourself, your name.
Yeah, my name is Vikash Mishra. I'm a student from MIT, nuclear engineering student, PhD. Now, when I look at the nature of Indian government, they go into like shopping spree. They buy drones from Israel, they buy drones like West from somebody, night vision goggles from somebody, different countries. In my lab, if you come with me, I can make night vision goggles in like 4 hours. So, and my university pays me $2,800 per month, MIT. But when I talk to my colleagues in India, PhD students, they get really less money. They cannot take care of my family. I'm from Allahabad. I have to send money to my grandfather's medicine, but they cannot do it. Now, government is not doing anything. They keep on going like protesting and everything, but they do not increase the salary of PhD students. So so I want an answer from you, a request and answer from you that why we as a PhD student come to India and work. I will come because I love India, but not a lot of colleagues. But so can you please tell that what is the government initiative in increasing the funds you give to PhD students? Because in America, PhD students drive a lot of the technology, advanced technology, and we just ignore them in India. So I have been trying to talk to the government. I know Dr. Chidambaram, principal scientific advisor, but everyone says, oh, it is not going to happen. If it is not going to happen, how we will enable India, like increase the inner core infrastructure? Because it's all good. Digital India is good.
We understood the point, sir. Thank you. So there are two questions you've asked actually. One is whether the PhD students. First of all, let me agree. I'm not a scientist or engineer, but let me agree with one fundamental point this gentleman has made, that PhD students, the younger generations, while working under professors, really drive research. There is no doubt about that. We cannot function, we cannot produce what we produce as professors without the PhD students getting involved in some way or the other. So there is this remarkable relationship that the so-called PhD segment of education has in driving research and innovation and generation of new ideas. That's absolutely correct. And that may be truer of science and engineering than the social sciences. So
funding if PhD students are not working.
Right. Correct. No, absolutely. Yeah. No. The labs have to be run. The labs have to be run, and all that. So the two questions are: one, are PhD students of India agreeing that assuming that this is the right way to think about the problem, that they can be real incubators of new ideas, working under professors? Are PhD students in India getting enough? And some have to support their families, we know that, the kind of background they come from. And secondly, what is the policy which will respond to the second question, making it easier for not only him to come back after his MIT degree, but others who don't want to go back but could possibly come back if the atmosphere were better?
Well, very briefly, the first part of your query is concerned. Come to India, meet me. I will take you personal defense minister for that night vision goggles. If you can create it so well, India needs you. Okay. And we have liberalized our FDI also for 9% in defense, including defense research and R&D. Please come to India, at least for that purposes, if not for anything else. The second part on the larger issue of funding part is concerned. You know, PhD as a course, you cannot get a very robust kind of a salary. Okay, for that you'll have to become a teacher or an academic. But certain defined institutions surely, for research, the researchers who are doing a PhD or DLit can be given good funding. That I quite acknowledge. And therefore, again, I will have to revert to that flexible electronics initiative in IIT Kanpur in Mumbai. We have given grants. I'll see to it that those who are helping their professors in this are given good money. Surely, Government of India has also got a lot of schemes of research at higher level post graduation thereafter into this whole doctoral research. They are being encouraged in a big way. As of now, I don't have all those initiatives in mind. But I take notice of your larger concern that those who are doing PhD and real research in high-end technology must be taken care of. Surely, I'll convey this concern in my own way at the highest echelon in the government.
Yes. So we have 5 minutes left. Let me propose the following, that let's take 3 quick questions and then have the minister respond. Huh? All right, so we have taken 2 questions from this side. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning, sir. So my question is in connection with your closing comments that reservation is very important. And yes, we all do believe that reservation is very important. But in this age of emerging India, when can we see like economic-based reservations instead of caste-based reservations?
That's question number one. Second question. Yes, sir. Economics versus cost.
Good morning, sir. My name is Papa CJ. I'm a stand-up comedian based out of Delhi. That's not a joke. That's a fact, sir.
Okay.
My jokes are way better. My question is this, sir. What is the government's position on Facebook's free basics and the multi-million-dollar publicity campaign that they have been doing in India for the last couple of months?
One last question from here, yeah. And if we could accommodate more, we would, yeah.
My question is related to India being a leader in another unfortunate digital category, which is online porn viewing. We are number 3 in the world. This is not a moral issue for me, but as it relates to the rise in violence against women, there are studies done that with the rise in online porn viewing, particularly child pornography and also gang-based violence that is depicted. So there are studies done, and this is not simply a women's issue, but a global health crisis and a developmental challenge for India. So what sorts of governance and policies and measures and financial resources that are allocated to NGOs in India that can tackle this issue?
All 3 very loaded questions, huh? Let me reply to them very quickly. As far as your query on reservation is concerned, you know why I said what I said. Recently, we had 25 years of Dr. Ambedkar's anniversary. I see Dr. Ambedkar one of the finest human minds of India. Mind you, he was a great jurist at his point in time, therefore he was made the draftman committee chairman of the constitution making. And there was a very interesting comment by him. Whenever I used to feel thirsty, a particular peon used to give him water from above. And there's a very brilliant article by him, remain thirsty because no peon, no water. You know, you have to live that reality. And being an activist from myself, I've been a human rights activist also. I was a general secretary PUCL. That's where we and JP met. We'll talk about it later on. You have to see the deprivation at the ground level. It has improved. It still remains. Therefore, that kind of this social support system has to be there by the constitution and by the government. I feel very strongly about it. But we have to make extra effort to bring them up, and that's why I talk of Milind Kamble. You want free basics as far as you are concerned. Well, the regulator in India is considering that. And it will not be desirable for a communication minister with online Twitter going on to make any comment. Except to say it in broad terms. And what is the broad term? Free basic remains basically a tariff issue, differential pricing. And in India, the regulator decides the tariff part for energy, for electricity, for mobile tariff and all. Therefore, let's await the report. It is basically a tariff issue. Once the regulator decides, any party has got the right to go ahead to the other forums given under the TRI Act. As regards the campaign part is concerned, India is a free country. Anyone is entitled to do a campaign. But as far as the decision making is concerned, India is sovereign, India is free, and will take a decision in accordance with India's best interest. That should be very clear. The third issue of yours, the most sensitive one. Let me share, sitting in Harvard, my dilemma. As a great Democrat, I am a celebrator of freedom of India. I'm equally concerned about the evil effects of what you have just mentioned. How do we blend the two? On child pornography, I'm very firm. My government has taken a position very clearly and categorically. But when we come to watching pornography, there are two scenarios. I'm an adult sitting in my home, in the privacy of my home. Who are you to peep into it? That point is valid. Other things, when I see my responsibility as the minister, I have an obligation toward the society. I think that's debate we are going together today. And it's very important that NGOs also learn to speak their concerns more forcefully. Because what happens is, whenever this debate happens about pornography, the right to watch, one side gets a lot of prominence. What should be my role as a minister? Should I become an adjudicator? Should I become a moral policeman? Should I become what? That is a dilemma which I have to suffer at times. And this is a very chronic dilemma when it comes to these kinds of issues, be it censor, be it pornography, be it others. My larger context is, canvas is very clear. If there is violence and there is empirical evidence to prove that, I'm with you. But there has to be proper education and proper entitlement with enough caveat that there is no abuse of that. That's how I see it.
I need to ask the organizers, we are at the end of our time. So it's time to thank Mr. Prasad for sharing his thoughts with us. Thank you.